Welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my next review of the evening, or late night, that is. And that would be for 2022's prequel to the critically acclaimed horror slasher X, which would be Pearl. Mia Goth returns, but this time is a younger version of the villain of the first film. Which brings a little trivia about the first film. Mia Goth, I believe she's a English actress. She's mostly known for being the wife of Shia LaBeouf from the Transformers movies and being on children's programs. But she actually played both the villain and the protagonist in X. So she played the nearly 100-year-old demented antagonist that kills everybody in the first film, and the protagonist that survives the horror of the first movie. And yes, they are making a third film that follows the main character in the first movie, X. But we need a good origin story. All right, and that is obviously for 2022's Pearl. Now, as crazy as X is, this movie's even crazier than X. Even more demented than X, I might add. So let's read the back, see how close it is to the actual plot of the film. Filmmaker Ty West returns with another chapter from the twisted world of X. In this astonishing follow-up to the year's most acclaimed horror film, trapped on her family's isolated home, Pearl must tend to her elderly father under the bitter and overbearing watch of her distraught mother. Lusting for a glorious life like she's seen in the movies, Pearl's ambitions, temptations, and resentations all collide in the stunning Technicolor-inspired origin story of X's iconic villain. Yeah, that's pretty much that's about dead on. There are a few things I would add. The reason why the character of Pearl is obsessed with her own looks, almost like a metrosexual individual, is because she believes that she's a star. In fact, even when people tell her that she's not a star, she's like, "No, you're wrong. I'm a star." She's just, that's how crazy this fucking character is. I mean, it talks like that. It's it's like third person. She's just a crazy character, and very brilliant, very, very, very well acted by British actor Mia Goth, for sure, I might add. When she tries to go ahead and become a star in some sort of play, they don't accept her, and basically she goes on a rampage and kind of kills her best friend and kills people for, rejecting her. Basically, her issue is, don't reject her, because there will be dire consequences for rejecting her. And that kind of goes along with the attitude and the personality that she has in X, because it makes sense. It also makes sense why she's so obsessed with beauty and so obsessed with sex. It's because it's the American dream to be sexy and to be beautiful, and it's the American dream to be a star and all that stuff. Now, what's interesting about this Technicolor movie, and boy does it look like a Technicolor film, X looks like a 1970s film, while Pearl kind of looks like more like a film made in the era of Gone with the Wind in the 1930s. Although the film actually takes place, I believe, in the 1920s? Yeah. Now, the film takes place in the 1920s to early 1930s, but it kind of looks like a 1935, 1938 Technicolor film, like Gone with the Wind or Wizard of Oz. It kind of looks like a film like that. So that's the type of color you have in this film in terms of the quality. This, on the other hand, does not have the weird aspect ratio widescreen format that X does. This is a traditional CinemaScope 239 by 1 widescreen format movie. It does have a 5.1 DTS HDMA. Now, why did these two films, X and Pearl, come out in 2023 instead of 2022? Well, that's probably because of the COVID-19 pandemic. People don't get this, but the COVID-19 pandemic literally shit all over the film industry. Well, it's just about every movie we're seeing coming out now, some of them were actually in principal photography in 2019. Which means that these films are supposed to come out a lot sooner than they did. Like for example, I have no doubt in my mind that especially if you watch Infinity Pool, which has the crazy actress in these fucking movies, is another crazy character in that movie. You can tell that movie looks like it was made in 2022, and it makes sense that it was made in 2022. It makes a lot more sense that X and Pearl were probably made in 2020 to 2021, which means that they were made during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it just took them until 2022 to get wrapped up in their filming and post-production process, and then we got them released to the public in 2023. That's kind of how it works. Like I said, this pandemic destroyed everything. Which is why I give everybody so much shit when they still live in fear of COVID-19 and they go ahead and still think that it's justified to shut things down, to put things on hold. Well, it doesn't really work like that. The longer you put things on hold, the more damaging and devastating putting things on hold is going to affect the world. Which is why you don't do that. You gotta fight against whatever is going on in the world and continue to be successful. That's how it works. You can't do that if you're going to shut everything down. And this definitely it's a process of that. I mean, just about every movie I reviewed that's brand new that came out during 2023 and 2022 were people that were made years before that. And it just took all this time to finally get them put out there so people can watch them. And yeah, that's something that people need to understand about releasing the films. Like for example, my mom actually talked about how the writers' strike, like, son, how are they still putting movies out there with this writers' strike? And I was trying to explain to her, Mom, these movies were made 4 years ago to 3 years ago. They're just coming out now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. She has a very hard time understanding that we're just now making new movies. All the films are coming out and have come out recently were films we made during the pandemic when it was impossible to make a movie. Alright, well, I kind of already went into the picture quality. The picture quality for a 2K Blu-ray, and again, 424 Films is doing the same freaking thing. Sorry, A24 Films is doing the same freaking thing that Neon Films and Universal and Sony are doing. They're releasing a Blu-ray, and then they're seeing how it sells, and then eventually we'll get 4K, so we'll probably be reviewing these films eventually. It is very, very frustrating to keep doing that. But for what this is, it's actually not bad. The color is amazing in this movie because, like I said, it's like a really bright, vivid, techno-color, freaking 1930s looking movie. So you're gonna have very, 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 very extremely vividly bright colors throughout the entire movie. Something like what you see in Wizard of Oz or Gone with the Wind, so something like that. The detail is good. It's very clean image. There's not grain on it, unlike X. X deliberately has grain in the film because it's trying to look like a 70s film, while this is a very sharp, like Kodak film looking movie. So it's a little too clear. It's almost like out of worldly experience because it looks like you're watching something that was made in the 1930s. And it literally looks like that. It's very nostalgic to be in a 1930s movie in terms of its look and appearance. The audio quality, The audio quality is very, very good, and it's very modernized, but it does kind of have, like, that 1930s type of acting vibe going on with the music in the sound presentation of the film, to where, the music is like these this like really dramatic classical orchestra music that plays around with the emotions of the characters, like it would have in, say, a 1930s movie. So it definitely has that going on with the sound presentation, but it's done so well with this 5.1 DTS HDMA. And when things get bad as crazy and you have crazy shit going on, there's some pretty haunting musical scores and effects going on that represent that too. So definitely a very good, grounded, very good experience. Now, out of the two, which film do I prefer? I actually enjoy Pearl a hell of a lot more than I do X. Pearl, in my opinion, is a better made movie than X. But we got to give X his respect, because we wouldn't have Pearl if it didn't make X. And we'll be having the next movie, which I believe is XXX or something like that. This coming out, I believe, in 2024. Which again will star Mia Goth, but instead of being a prequel to X, this is going to be a sequel to X. So, yeah, that's all there's to say about Pearl from 2022. Along with X, check it out, and I'll see you guys next time.